The town manager's report.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to start by thanking everyone who participated in the 217th annual town meeting last week. 105 voters at town meeting considered 19 warrant articles, all of which passed. Highlights include the passage of a $52.2 million operating budget supporting general government, education, public works, and public safety. Town meeting also approved the borrowing of up to $300,000 to complete a schematic design of a new fire station, more than $300,000 in capital purchases, an increase in the exemption available to seniors, veterans, surviving spouses, and the blind, as well as accepted Phalanx and Riverbend as public ways. A big thank you to Tyngsborough Media, the Tyngsborough Public Schools facilities staff, and the town clerk's office, as well as Jackie in our office, as well as all the voters who came out to make town meeting possible. Included in your packet tonight with correspondence is the town's annual report to the Department of Energy Resources, DOER, for the Green Communities Program. The Green Communities Program is a grant program through the state that allows us to get matching state funds for energy efficiency projects in Tyngsborough. We've used this grant for HVAC improvements, lighting upgrades, and much more. This year, the grant funded the recommissioning of HVAC systems at the elementary school, which will help ensure that systems are operating efficiently and correctly. This year's program was completely funded by the state grant. There was no local match to go with it. On a staffing front, I'm excited to share that I've appointed Sean Walsh as the town's next assistant town manager. Mr. Walsh will replace Catherine Foster, who left us in February to be the finance director in Drake. Mr. Walsh comes to us from the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, the ABCC, where he serves as the licensing supervisor, overseeing the agency's licensing operations and 6 full-time licensing staff. In that role, Jackie has got to know him quite well over the last couple of years. He's held that role since 2020, and prior to that was a licensing assistant for 2 years. He has an MBA from the University of Massachusetts Amherst and a bachelor's degree in economics, law, and public policy from Suffolk University. He currently serves as a member of the planning board in his hometown. Sean's background and experience cover a range of areas that I've identified as being helpful to complement my skill set and will be an asset to the town. He was chosen after 2 rounds of interviews. We received over 30 applications for the position and offered initial interviews to 5 highly qualified candidates. With the help of the interview panels, we narrowed it down to 2 finalists. Both had similar backgrounds and experiences, and the committee felt that Sean was the best fit for Tyngsborough. The interview panels were a mix of department heads and members of senior leadership. Sean will start in his new role on June 2nd, just in time for a select board meeting. I'm also happy to share that at the recommendation of DPW Superintendent Jake Zwicker, I've promoted Ray Reiki to the position of working foreman for the DPW, overseeing the Highway Division's grounds and parks operations. Ray will replace Bill Landon, who retired last month. Ray's been an employee of the town in various capacities since 1997, including as a call firefighter and most recently as a skilled laborer. He's also a veteran of the United States Army and lives in town with his family. Last week, we reviewed proposals for the engineering services for the sewer division of the DPW. After a thorough review by DPW Superintendent Jake Zwicker, Sewer Administrator Kathy Kayer, and Sewer Commissioner Darrell Wickens, the town will award a contract to Woodard and Curran. On Wednesday of this week at 10 a.m., we'll hold a pre-bid walkthrough at 180 Lakeview Ave as a part of the invitation for bids for the demo and abatement of that building. Bids for that project are due on Monday, June 2nd at 9 a.m. Thanks to a community-wide assessment grant from the Environmental Protection Agency, the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection will begin a brownfields assessment at 292 Middlesex Road. This parcel was taken by the town a few years ago for unpaid taxes and sits directly adjacent to the yard waste drop-off site on Bryant Lane. It was at one point used by the sewer department for a staging area when they were doing the Phase 2 expansion. It's right at the end of Bryant Lane. The assessment will do a detailed analysis of the site to identify what, if any, contamination exists and help us map out the path to cleaning up the contamination if there is any. That work will commence later this month. The new pavilion for Ironwood Park was delivered last week and actually is almost completely installed. I think all they have left is the slats on the roof. Big thanks to Ray Contracting for the hard work to ensure the pavilion was delivered on time so that it can be enjoyed by the town at the grand opening on June 7th. And there are a bunch of upcoming events I'd like to remind folks about. The Council on Aging will host estate planning trivia night this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Center for Active Living. The event is designed to help residents learn about wills, trusts, and estate planning. The event will be led by attorney Eileen Curtis, who has many years of experience in the field. There's more information about it at our website, tyngsboroughma.gov, or by calling the center at 978-649-9211 It's free, it's open to the public, and you don't have to RSVP to attend. The Friends of the Tyngsborough Public Library will host their annual book sale benefiting the library on Saturday, May 17th from 8:30 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. right here in the community room. The annual town election will take place on Tuesday, May 20th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. In addition to voting on Election Day, residents may request a mail-in ballot, vote by absentee ballot, or vote early at Town Hall. That began this past Saturday. You can find all of the early voting hours and learn how to request a vote-by-mail ballot by visiting tyngsboroughma.gov. The Recreation Committee and the Board of Health will host a grand opening of Ironwood Park at the same time as the annual Health and Safety Fair on June 7th. It will be held in conjunction with the Health and Safety Fair, and it will run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. They've lined up instructors for all of the different sport amenities that are on the site, so if you're looking to learn how to play one of them, that is the time to do it. And then finally, on Friday, June 20th, we'll host a 10-year anniversary gathering at the Center for Active Living to celebrate 10 years of the Council on Aging being operated out of 169 Westford Road. We'll also do a formal naming ceremony to commemorate the name change to the Center for Active Living. And that is all that I have, Mr. Chair.
That's it? Boy. As always, thank you for the detailed report. I will open it up to the board for questions or comments. Mr. Moran, did you want to start?
Looks like Mr. Colin has a nice tan from the weekend. I'm just messing with you.
It's
No.
closer to a burn, but I'll take it.
Nice work, nice work. I don't have any questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider?
At the 180 Lakeview Ave parcel that we're doing the pre-bid walkthrough, we did a assessment of that previously, right, to make sure there were no other hidden toxic waste or whatever there, or?
Correct. You may recall, we issued an invitation for bid based on one that was put together about 2 years ago. Between when we put out the initial one 2 years ago and when we went to reissue it at the beginning of this spring, the regulations governing when you have to do a full assessment changed. Previously, this didn't require it due to the size of the building. The regulations changed, and now any non-residential building, regardless of the size, needs to have an assessment. So because of that, we canceled the invitation for bids. We brought in a hazmat expert who did a full survey. So we are aware of all of the contents that are contaminated, and those have been identified in the IFB.
Thank you.
Of course.
Select Person Gilfus.
Mr. Chair, a couple of items. The Tyngsborough Elementary HVAC, is that remediation in light of the results of the energy survey? I'm looking at the, I assume that this is what informed it, right? These charts that have the standard unit of measurement for fuel.
Yes. So the way our Green Communities program, we work with a energy expediter. They're called. It's ours is Guardian Energy. There's a few of them, and they have all of the data that you're looking at. Based on that data, based on where we can maximize incentives from the utilities. So every year the utilities, based on state regulations and federal regulations, they shift their priorities. All of our Green Communities projects typically include a local match, the state portion, and then typically there's some level of incentive from the utility. Every year before they put out their projects, Mass DEP, or DOER, also says, look, these are the projects we're prioritizing. So this year, they prioritized 1 or 2 or 3 different types of projects. And yes, looking at the data that you're seeing right now, which is before we do any recommissioning, our energy consultant will say this is where you can maximize the savings or where you can have the biggest impact.
Thank you. Because looking at it, I mean, the elementary school has exponentially more energy usage than even the other schools. And I was trying to understand why that would be, because it has the smallest footprint of the schools, I think. I'm fairly certain.
The only kind of hidden component is that all of Bicentennial Field, the energy, whether it's to run the irrigation system, the lights, is included on the Tyngsborough Elementary School bill.
Okay. And then there were items in the report that said that Town Hall is not energy efficient, and they're looking at ways of, was it like looking at the windows? Is that what it said? Something about like just leak opportunity?
One of what we expect will be our next project through Green Communities is some of the weatherproofing. We did a small portion of it at the end of this winter where using incentives actually from National Grid, They came around and added weather stripping to all of the doors, some of the windows, but most of the doors. There are other areas of this building that are original to the building that would cost more money to do, and so we would include that in a future Green Communities program. We are, I think we're in the $1.2 million club for the Green Communities, meaning we're on the top tier in terms of grants that we've received. So we've done a lot of like the low-hanging fruit. We've replaced lighting in all of the buildings. We've done HVAC upgrades in all of the buildings. So we're starting to get to the point where the projects now they're less exciting, if you will, because we've knocked out a lot of the bigger ones.
Great. And so the data about energy usage, was that before the weather stripping?
Yes, I think the weather stripping was completed maybe mid-February, probably
Okay.
end of February, because I think it was right out. Kat arranged it, and then she left, so I'd say end of February.
So presumably in our next report, we'll have some better looking numbers for the elementary school and town hall.
Yes.
Thank you. In terms of the Brownsfield assessment, is a Brownsfield assessment what it looks like based on what you described about identifying the contamination?
Yes, so when that parcel, from what I understand, used to have a gas station on it. And so before the town took it by tax title only about 3 years ago, it had a brownfields notice from Mass DEP.
What does that mean?
It means that Mass DEP had identified it as a potential contaminated site, and certain activities like the transfer of ownership trigger a review period where Mass DEP now enforces that you take certain actions. Fortunately, we were able to get this grant. Now they'll do an assessment to say for certain, a lot of what they've said so far is based on assumptions, right? They assume there are underground storage tanks. They assume because of the time period that they probably leaked, they've been sitting there for so long. It is very possible that they do their assessment and there is in fact no contamination, they close the site out, but there are certain steps that you have to follow, and all of that was triggered by us taking ownership of it.
Lovely. And the last item is more of a comment. For the book sale, you mentioned that it is running 8:30 to 2. If people have memberships from this year, they can enter a half an hour early.
Oh.
So if you'd like to become a member of the Friends of the Tyngsborough Public Library, the town website can help you with that. Library website. All of the websites. They all connect to each other.
So that's kind of like early entry at Disney.
It is.
Okay,
You can rope drop the book sale if you are a
Every one
member,
of those
yes.
meetings, huh?
got it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Mr. Coe.
Well, there's so much here, I could probably comment on every single one of them. But the one I want to really comment on, and Selectwoman Gilfus started this, about the Green Communities Program. If you're looking at the packet, which residents also have access to the same time we do, and thank you for the resident that made that recommendation. If you look in there, you'll see the Green Communities assessment or whatever. And in that, something that I learned out of that was that they looked at our energy consumption. Since 2008 till today, we have reduced our energy consumption by 30%. So on an annual basis, we're saving tens and tens of thousands of dollars because of that. A lot of that was because of the Green Communities grants. Town manager mentioned a lot of the things that we had done, a lot of the low-lying fruit, especially LED lighting. And in that also, if everybody remembers, it took us about 3 years to change our streetlights, went through a lot of different iterations, but our energy consumption over our streetlights is down 61% since 2008. So, anywhere we can save money on an annual basis is a win for us. So I'm happy to just be able to relay that to the residents, and great work, Colin. And as everybody saw, there's an awful lot of activities that you can go see that our town managers mentioned. And, I think more and more, we're getting more and more activities from boards, committees, nonprofits, and we try to announce a lot of these so residents can partake in them. I was just at a nonprofit event, and somebody that I hadn't seen in about 10 years was telling me all the different activities that they go to in town, and they're glad to see so many of them keep popping up, it seems like, every single year. That's all I have.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add other than another great update. I look forward to seeing it online and social media and podcasts everywhere. So thank you.